Hello, friends. Was just in the shower thinking about spirituality and religion and decided to streamline my thoughts for anybody that's interested. I was thinking about the application of terminology and language in reference to the spiritual or religious experience and the conundrum in making any objective or seemingly objective decision about the use of the proper language. I was thinking, I've been asked a lot of times through the years, am I Christian or am I Buddhist or am I anything in particular, or how do I describe it, what I believe? And while I can rant on and on about the specifics of what I feel about spirituality, for me to choose any label seems like a confusing thing to me. It's not just that I disagree with it, but it's confusing. And I was just thinking about the idea of language as a whole. Language is essentially a map used in an attempt to describe or show the layout of reality. So if we consider that spirituality or religion is an attempt to map out the etheric, or map out this intangible realm, essentially, I'm left with a couple of bits of confusion about how to really decide or apply what I truly feel about it. Firstly, to confuse the map with the territory seems like a folly right off the bat. So to say that I've got this map so I understand the territory perfectly is just silly. And so if we consider spirituality to be a map, again, to show the objective or attempt to describe the objectivity of a reality or some kind of geography, it's okay to use that map and say, I've got a good feeling about this territory because of my map. That's great. That makes perfect sense to me. But to confuse the map with the territory is fallacy, is inaccurate, I believe. Secondly, to think that there's different maps. When it comes to spirituality, there's a selection of maps that people choose, and those maps could be compared to the different religions or the different philosophical practices. I value looking at all the different maps, and they all seem amazing and profound to me. But to say that any one map is absolutely perfect for describing the territory would be to confuse the possibility, or to incorrectly assume the possibility that any map could perfectly analyze and describe the territory. So the idea of subscribing specifically to any one religion, or limiting myself and saying that I have one religion figured out, seems almost beyond my own limitations. I am too accepting of my own fallibility. I don't know for sure. I can tell you what I believe and what I feel, and I'm definitely not an atheist based on the feelings that I have. I feel this divine presence. I sense something. So I believe, and that's my own experience, and that's my own perspective. But I don't have it figured out. And I think it's kind of, in my opinion, honestly, almost a blasphemy for any religion or philosophy to claim that they have spirit figured out, absolutely. And I think that that's something that it's kind of disturbing for me to consider, and it's kind of perplexing to many people when I discuss this topic with them, because they feel that it should be easy enough for me to just choose one religion, especially talking to missionaries and people of that sort. But it's just too vast of a topic for me to ever settle on just one idea. And so while I do value each of these different philosophies and each of these different perspectives, I think I hold specifically my own fallibility as a spiritual framework. While I believe that the experience of spirit or the experience of God can be experienced possibly in an absolute flawless perfection, to squeeze that into the human mind, to intellectualize the spiritual experience to a T without any fault, I believe is impossible. And because of that, any religion who claims to have God figured out or has something completely mapped out, it seems crazy to me, to say that I really resonate with this map. I resonate with the Christian map of spirituality, the Buddhist map of spirituality. I get it. That's cool. In anybody who resonates with a particular philosophy, I'm all for their pursuit of using that. But to ever step over that boundary and say that I have God figured out, or I know absolutely that my map, my spiritual philosophy, my religion is absolutely perfect and all the others are wrong, seems to rely on the possibility that we could ever be flawless, that our mind could ever be infallible, to make a decision so vast as saying that we have spirituality absolutely figured out. And I think this is the human conundrum, and a big hurdle to jump over in our current paradigm is remembering our own fallibility. Like Plato says, I know nothing. That has really resonated with me a lot through the years. I would like to say that I know some things based on my experience, but I'm open to the fact that I'm limited to my own psychology, my own reference, and that I could be incorrect. And because of that, I cannot truly, in honor, in true principle, say that I am any one religion. I cannot say that I am a Christian, but I can also not say that I am, I also will not say that I am a non-Christian. I cannot say I'm a Buddhist. I will also say I'm not a non-Buddhist. I don't really understand the full application of what those phrases are. I think another interesting point is that any religion is based on language. It's based on language that other people have spoken and people agree on. And while there's beauty in while there is beauty in the use of language to attempt to describe spirituality and religion, language is always multidimensional and interpretable in a lot of different ways. And so the idea that somebody would say, I'm a Christian because I believe this, this, and this, that might work for them, and that's cool. Anybody who feels that way, I respect that decision. But your decision to be Christian or your decision to be Buddhist is based on your interpretation of a language, whether that's a holy book or whether that is your interpretation of the language of someone who turned you on to that religion. And if you truly resonate in your heart and feel that those words are perfect and they work for you, then I'm not going to say that that's wrong. Of course, that's beautiful that you feel that way. But because of the multidimensional nature of language and because of the ultimate inobjective groundwork of language is always interpretable in different ways. To me, being hyper analytical and a bit crazy, it makes it almost impossible for me to truly say that I am any one religion, because the most I could ever do would be to study a certain theology, talk to 100 different people about that religion, and then think whether or not those words resonate with me. But are those words truly what the religion is? Or are those words truly just people's interpretation of that language, people's interpretation of the Bible, and my interpretation of their description of what they think the Bible is? It's a conundrum. There's just multiple layers of fallibility and subjectivity that need to be sorted through and peered through in order for anyone to make an attempt at declaring that they are a given religion. And like I said, while I respect anybody's decision to subscribe and say that they are a religion or feel that they are a certain religion, it seems an impossibility for me due to my analytical nature and my own acceptance of the fallibility of my own mind. I am not perfect. I do not have things figured out. I'm trying my best to figure things out, and perhaps someday I'll have it completely figured out. But I'm also willing to accept the possibility that there is no way for it ever to be completely figured out. What's more important, the destination or the path? The path exists in the now. The destination may or may not even exist. I believe spirituality is a path. It is the experience of looking around us in the now and just taking it in and digesting it and pondering on it. Religion relies on what I feel might honestly be a fallacy of the idea of there being a destination, that spirituality is ever a quest that is completed. Like I study 100 religions and I figure one out, I'm like, okay, found my destination, this is the religion. While that might work for some people, I really feel intuitively and in my heart that the real importance in the spiritual experience is in considering and in looking around and in thinking. And that was something that really scared me as I started to develop. I was raised Christian, and when I started really thinking philosophically, when I came of age, I was actually fearful of the idea of committing blasphemy just from pondering. And when I really, I'm glad that I overcame that. And when I really think about the nature of life and the nature of reality and the nature of sin, even, it really feels right to me that we were given these brains. I believe that we were spiritually gifted, that God or the Great Spirit created us with this brain for a reason, and that it's beautiful to use it, and it's beautiful to ponder. And I really feel that pondering and accepting our own fallibility is not only something that should be encompassed and respected within religious constructs, but for me, it's actually a spiritual construct in and of itself to accept that I don't have it figured out, and it's beautiful to not have it figured out. There may be no such thing as enlightenment. It may just be a quest of growing. Enlightenment may be an orientation of path rather than a path that leads to a destination. And that's enough rambling about that topic. Thank you all for watching.